Hey guys, welcome in. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you catch this video at DryerBuzz.com. If not, because we do share a lot, but if you see it on any other platform and you want to watch us live, you know to go over to DryerBuzz.com. If you're on your desktop, it'll be right there in your sidebar, and then you can just blog. You can watch all the content, great content we have at DryerBuzz.com, and then if you're on your mobile, you just simply get your scroll on. Just get your scroll on. I'm going to bring it up here on our screen. I'm going to go and add this video to our playlist. So as you can see right here in the sidebar, we have a playlist for everything that's live. Let me refresh my YouTube here, and it's going to tell me I'm live. It's going to tell me I got some good live stuff going on. Let's see here. I was hoping it would. We'll get it. So I'm going to just tag myself and all this. Let me see. Go to my channel. How about that? And there it is. It's all blogging. It's live. That's what you're going to get if you're a subscriber. It's going to let you know we're live so you can get the buzz behind the buzz, and you won't have to watch it on a replay and miss all this good time and post a comment, ask me any kind of questions about blogging. And you know, why are we revisiting blogging? Yeah, because everybody else is now trying to blog. So you know that we do have a wonderful meetup where we take you through, and this looks good. I'm going to tell you guys about this picture that I have above my head here in just a second. Let me add this. And here's a tip about blogging. And what I'm going to do is I created a playlist. I embedded that playlist. Let me add to, it says add. Okay, good. I embedded the playlist. So for those who are on DryerBuzz.com, when they go on DryerBuzz.com, then they will see in their sidebar, and of course on their mobile if they scroll, they will see our YouTube live playlist right here. See it popping in there? And then they can watch it. All they have to do is click watch live or turn it on. There we go. And then, of course, they can watch it while they're scrolling and reading any other content and so forth. And that's just a little tip. What we're going to talk about today is what should we blog about today? We've got a deadline. Let's go ahead. First of all, you want to set a deadline. It's about half after the hour here, so I need to refresh that. I've got all these windows open, so I'm going to close some of them so that we can get started finding out. And I'll tell you, my editorial schedule basically talks about different events, things that I've been invited to, that I've accepted the invitation. So I talk a little bit about where I'm going. I'm known for certain hashtags, of course, at DryerBuzz, and then of course #HairSheBuzz right there. Okay, that's only part of it. When you go to DryerBuzz.com, as you see pages here up across the top, these are the things that we blog about. #HairSheBuzz. We talk about hair. We talk a little bit about hair because we try to connect with our salons. We were born out of the salon, which is why it's called DryerBuzz. But what we wanted to do was that amazing and awesome experience that you have in the salons on whatever day you go, be it the weekends, Saturdays. If you one of those, like some of us, head over to the barbershop, or like others, you spend your time in the salons. It's an amazing environment. So one of the reasons we created DryerBuzz, or called it DryerBuzz, is wanted to take that experience with you when you left. So you didn't have to wait till every 2 weeks or every week or whatever your routine is, where you go and because in the salon is where you find out what's buzzing, right? And all of this stuff is going on during the week. You can't wait to get in your stylist chair and y'all ham it up. Y'all gonna talk about all the buzz, bigger and better than the water cooler conversation, because you get to take your mask off and you get to be real about what it is you're talking about and have that awesome experience, right? And so I wanted to, number one, facilitate that conversation with some facts, okay, and some stats and all of that, because we just have an amazing conversation in these entities, right? And so what I wanted to do was, within that week or two that you're gone, it's like, well, where do you turn to? Where do you really get information that's speaking directly to you? How do you satisfy your curiosity? And so 16 years ago, I sat up in bed and it hit me. DryerBuzz, because I already had a series of newsletters. I was already doing marketing and helping everybody create buzz. And I was like, DryerBuzz. It's what we read under the dryer. You know, you got 45 minutes. You know, wouldn't you love to have 40? We don't sit under the dryer pretty much today, but wouldn't you love to have 45 minutes to just go in on a topic, right? Or just go in, just take some time for yourself and get your scroll on, slow your scroll. So that's where DryerBuzz.com came from. And so, you know, I'm a blogger, not necessarily a reblogger. So, like, you know, okay, there's some topics out there today. There's some trending topics, some things to share. But I'll more or less just go ahead and share those, not necessarily archive them at my blog. One of the things what I'm real particular about is what I do archive here. Some things need to stay on social media. Some things need to be fleeting. They need to trend here. Some things we need to buzz and bash it, but should it last forever? Is it timeless? A lot of the links when you go to DryerBuzz.com, a lot of the links there you can share day in and day out because it's timeless information, because it's really about culture, it's about arts, it's about amazing stories. I blog under the auspices of the African proverb, when the lion gets a storyteller, the hunter no longer has the better part of the story. And I have built that as my reputation. So when people see me, they know here comes the lion storyteller. We better make sure we got this thing right. Are we on the right side? Right? Are we on the right side? And did I bring my juice? I did bring my juice. And some of you just watched me make this juice live. So this is why I keep my juice with me, so that when I'm talking and podcasting, because after I go live, I'm going to take the audio. Probably, if it's really good, I'll make a great podcast out of it. I'm going to be rebooting the podcast. One of the things we started out this week with this one word, reboot. What do we need to reboot? What's working? What's not working? As we come into this 16th season, the 16th year of DryerBuzz. I'm ready to retire. Been ready to retire, but then I was like, wait a minute. You know, 16. Who doesn't take the opportunity to market and brand 16 years, Sweet 16, or you know, I was like, it's too much, you know. So try one more again, keep it going, and so what I blog about, and I'll go back up here to the top again. Here She Buzz. That is where you're going to go and read some amazing stories about women, because oftentimes women have to fall within certain formula in order to appear in the headline or in the news. And in my what I have observed, she has to either lie, cry, die, fly off the handle, or be naked. It's a formula. It's a real life formula. Now, every entity, network, news organization will tell you it's not a formula, but you go look at your news items right now, and if you see a headline that involves a woman, and tell me, did she lie? Is she crying? Did she die? Did she fly off the handle, or is she naked? And out of those 5 things, you're probably going to say, yeah, she's doing 2 or 3 of these things. What's wrong with her? It's not that anything's wrong with her. It's just that that's what it takes for women to make the news. And another part of creating DryerBuzz, you know, I was early in technology, early building websites, and I would log on each and every day, and we all have those same home pages when we go on the internet, which you should change. Search engine should not be your home page. Every time you hit your browser, you should be giving that very important hit to an entity that you love. So you can actually make DryerBuzz your home page and give us that hit. But you should not have a search engine as your home page. But you know, hey, I know, you know, whatever, keep it going. So when I would log on every day to do my work on all these web applications 16 years ago, 20 years ago, as a matter of fact, it was very hard to see someone of African American descent, Black, brown, however, a minority. It was very hard to see that. And so, yeah, I came into this space realizing there was a niche, there was a gap, and I made that gap my niche. And then even though I made that gap my niche, the industry will always try to put you in a box. And once you get placed in that box, you already know it's hard to get out of that box, right? So, but I knew how to break out of the box. But at the same time, I saw a gap. I made that gap my niche, and that's what we do at DryerBuzz. So if you want to look at see great stories about women, and sometimes, yes, we might have to run a story of a woman who is within that formula, simply because we see, and I run it but I would run it with a solution. I would run it with the alternative. I would run it with not just, hey, let's just put some diesel in the bus and run her over. Let's get to her and help her get back in her lane and back on her journey. So there's a difference. And here comes a conversation. Here comes a lesson in It's All Blogging. There's a difference with when the intent is there. Sometimes people are going to give you side effects. It's like, I just interacted or engaged with that person, but I don't know how I really feel about that. Did they give me that bit of information because it was to help serve me? Or, why did they give it? And I have to get beyond the emotion of it so that I can clearly process it. And then I feel like, well, if I can't get beyond the emotion of it, maybe it was meant to hurt. When you can't get beyond the emotion and just deal with the facts, the intent to it may have been a little bit different than what you think. And I think that's what happened. So when you read some of those things at DryerBuzz.com under the Hair She Buzz and stories about women, our intent is to serve with the story, and therefore it doesn't come with the sting. It doesn't come with the emotion side of it. We're just dealing with the actual and factual. Just so like there's a challenge going around, and it's like, and not everybody should be participating in that challenge. Sometimes you have to let some stuff go by. It's like, because what's going to be the lingering effect to that. Next, living Atlanta style. How did I started blogging about? I started blogging about living Atlanta style simply because I was on internet radio. I was in the bloggers, not the bloggers. What blogosphere didn't necessarily exist then. It was new media, online publication, digital publications, and I was doing pirate radio. I had my own radio station from a desk, and I was participating in other radio stations. And so wherever I was contributing or participating, I would always say, I'm live from Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta, and I would always represent my city. And so people would always come to me with questions about Atlanta, because during that time, and even still today, everybody's coming to Atlanta, whether you're coming for an event, a conference, a weekend, you're moving here, you're relocating, it's a stopover, whatever it is. Every day somebody inbox me or tag me in a question about Atlanta. And so again, there was a gap. Where there's a gap, there's a niche. I made that gap part of my niche. And so it could be looked at as our second blog. If you really want to look at our categories, 1, 2, 3, three blogs we actually run here. Hair She Buzz, Living Atlanta Style. And then we have just your basic news clipping. And that's where we may do a little bit of reblogging, but maybe there's a news item. I'm going to write an opinion about that. Still, a lot of it is original. And some of it is really like, okay, it's a topic and we've written about it, or if we're out and about live streaming and so forth and so on. So deadline. I have a deadline. Let's see. We said it was about almost top of the hour, bottom of the hour here. And I wanted to tell you about the picture up above. I'm going to put you guys on the picture up above. And the reason why I say it's all blogging, hopefully you can see that. I can't look like I can't tilt too much. But I'm going to tell you that picture, if you zoom in on it, it's actually, I could actually take you down and we can talk about it. Let's do that. That way you don't have to try and look up above me, and I can keep everything I got right here in the shot. And I got it actually on one of those nice little Velcro things so that I can move it around. I'm going to bring it up closely. And I want to shout out, this is a student artist, Natalie Emily Pimentel, a woman with ideas. It's an acrylic and magazine collage. And I actually bought it at a student art exhibit. And so, and one of the reasons I loved it, and I'll take it back here, was I saw it immediately, and I said, that is a symbol of blogging. That is blogging. So what she's actually done is taken articles, magazine articles, stories, and cut out each one of them. And she took them, and then she made a collage of a woman, and it's called A Woman with Ideas. The minute I saw it, I had to have it. I knew I had to have it. And look, there's one right here that's talking about Maya Angelou. How to write, how to be a writer. telling you, this is why this was destined to be mine, Emily. She invited me into, and I bet you this is probably an article about. Let's see. She invited me into, and I don't have the rest of it, at the home of the renowned Dr. Richard Long, and I remember this almost the article that it was. So that one, when it said how to be a writer, it stands out to me. And like Latinos, there's a story here about Latinos that stands out. And I probably shouldn't touch it too much, and I probably should go and have it actually framed, which I have a friend that does framing them, and she's gonna see it on my wall. It's like, I know you want to get that frame. And it was only, and I don't want to say it was only because I don't even want to tell you how much it cost, because already it's so much more valuable to me. But it was a student exhibit at the Douglas County Museum of History and Art. And actually, come to think of it, maybe later on this year they'll do that again. But she made the collage, and really it kind of reminded me of Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells is my writing, blogging mentor. Again, I blog with the African proverb in mind. Look, try new foods and flavors. While she and her mom have a Simpsons My Backbone, it's like all of these, each one of these little stories, you can pick out something. And I'm wondering, where did she get this? And you can see she then made this nice silhouette. So when I walked into the exhibit, my eye went right here first, and I got it. And actually, I just picked it up yesterday, and I'm telling you, it's just, I thought it was great, and all of the work. And as a matter of fact, on my YouTube channel, if you go back and do maybe student art or something like that, I think I did upload the YouTube, not YouTube, but definitely on Instagram and Facebook, because I live when I go to the exhibit. It's one of the museums. I love this museum because they enjoy when I come by and live stream. And you want to use your talent for people who appreciate. In fact, in the Steve Harvey Strawberry Letter, this guy had written in about, he just wasn't appreciated in all that he'd done for this girl that he was with. And it's that whole thing about wanting to be appreciated. And there are a lot of gifts and talents that come through blogging, and you do stories. And a lot of people I write stories on, or a lot of places I go and I live stream, they don't say thank you. They don't know to appreciate it. But the good thing about it, and what I've learned about the currency of reciprocity, which I learned from Rodney Sampson in his book Kingonomics, is reciprocity is a currency. And he explains that oftentimes reciprocation is not going to come from the person you do something for, but from those who witness your kindness. And so that's why I'm not short on serving others. That's why I'm not short on doing things. And sometimes, the negativity of people get back to you, or comes back into your space. Like today, some things I'm like, but you have to, again, take the emotion out of it. So this is a woman with ideas, and it is now a part of, and sorry if I don't want to flash you guys back there. Let's see if we can get her back up on her piece there. And I hung it with some of those. The funny part about it is I hung it with those MC Hammer things where you can command strips. It's up there with the command strips. They hold about 3 pounds. So, and also just again, I am just simply getting my workspace. This is my new blogging space. Cleaned off my desk, getting back into it, and I've had so much fun being back at the desktop. If you guys are thinking about getting back to your desktop, and I know we do so much on our phones and our devices. I've got the desktop. I've got the iPad, the mini iPad. I've got my iPhone. I'm all Apple. And let me share this out. I'm going to share this a couple more times here in a couple places, and make sure I did put it on DryerBuzz. So now, what should we blog about? What should we write about? I sent a couple of emails out. I need to probably check my email. I'll just give you a little bit in my blogging day. And let me go ahead and put this also on Google Plus. We can talk about that as well. And I have a couple of lists that circulate And those lists, they usually give you ideas of what to blog about. I love that my book, I bought these little swings. That's an actual little swing. It's on a hook. Again, another command strip. It's on a hook. And I got that at Five Below. These little swings. I have one on this side, I have one on that side that I use for the book club when I'm doing the videos on my book. It's all blogging. Your book club is part of your thing. But that's my book. I'm the author of 27 Answers to Create Buzz, because after blogging for 16 years, everybody wonder, well, how you do it? And so I wrote about it. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you where do I find my inspiration for blogging. When I don't have something on my chest, something to get off my chest, or something that I've recently experienced, and I went to a couple events, and I have something coming up tomorrow. I could blog about that. One of the hashtags, one of the living Atlanta style, I have a hashtag called Feed a Blogger, and now I'm like, don't feed a blogger because she needs the juice. But I'm invited to take a couple of friends to go and have experience a tasting tomorrow, so I can talk about that. So that's one particular story. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I got a message there. And then also, I blog about the convenience economy, the gig economy, and ride share, things like that, ride sharing, and other things about our economy. So what I want to do is I want to go to, there's a website that a lot of reporters, journalists, news networks go to. And when we go to this site, you're going to recognize a little bit of the content. It's like when they're looking for ideas as well, they go to this site, and the site is called Pew. I saw it. The Pew Research Center, which is a publication. When you hear that a new poll is out on this, that, and the other, this is the site. This is the entity. It's the Pew Research Center is a nonpartisan American think tank based in Washington, D.C. It provides information on social issues, public opinion, and demographic trends shaping the United States and the world. So I like to come over here. Well, I'm actually in Google, so I'm going to go to Pew Research, pewresearch.org. I like to go to their site and see what reports, and they call them publications. They put out these different publications based on what I just told you that they do. And they have U.S. politics, media and news, social trends. And look, it says take part in our user survey. There must be something else. Religion, internet, science. And they have a tab actually called Hispanics. It used to say African Americans. And then they have global. And then on each of those tabs, you will see something called publication. I'm going to click on politics. Although this new patch of gray in my hair comes from me discussing and being involved in politics, and I don't want to do any more politics. But when you click on a topic, you have your fact tank over here, you have your publications, and these are the publications down here. Like right now, they've got Republicans divided in views of Trump's conduct. Democrats are broadly critical. And then they have topics, questions, search, data sets, those are your numbers, methodology, how they arrived at the opinions and the data and so forth. I would normally, because of what I blog about, I would normally look at media and news, because I'm also behind the hashtag media apartheid. And I always talk about the formula of how stories are built and how that formula is so skewed to Black and brown people. So science, news, and information. Then they have social trends. And this one, it just talks about how we feel about different things. And each tab basically puts out a publication or a poll or a data set or facts on a monthly basis. And this one, it says to me, the last report over here came out September the 8th. Okay. So and it was on Asian Americans, a diverse and growing population. Now, I might not want to blog about that so for now, but what if I was to share it on my social media just to see what kind of nibble it gets. If it gets a little bit of a debate or conversation, then I might want to archive that conversation on my blog and then do a write-up about it. A diverse, growing population. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to look for, and then it has the fact sheet and so forth. Methodology, let's see here. I'm looking for my share button. Just looking at it to see how. Okay, so here's the actual story here, some actual publication. And the gist of it is always in the first topic. The U.S. Asian population is diverse. A record 20 million Asian Americans trace their roots to more than 20 countries in East and Southeast Asia and the Indian subcontinent, each with unique histories, culture, languages, and other characteristics. The 19 largest origin groups together account for 94% of the total Asian population in the U.S. New fact sheets for each of these Asian groups, and so they've got a nice breakdown. But what are they really trying to say about it? Not only they just want us to know, but definitely they want us to. I'm trying to see if they kind of skew it. So I'm just going to drop that on my Facebook, and then I'll come back and I'll lead a discussion or a debate about it. So we're going to go back up to the top here, back over to social trends. Before that one, on September the 8th, the last report on this particular topic was May 18th, and it was on intermarriage in the U.S., okay? And then they did, before that one, they talked about the narrowing but persistent gender gap in pay. Why are we know from the Obama administration, one of the most important laws was about the gender pay. And so it's interesting to keep that. Despite gains, women remain underrepresented among U.S. political, and then they talk about births outside of marriage. So those are social trends. So if I was looking for a social trend topic and I wanted to have some facts in my topic, I would go there and pull from that. Religion, internet, and tech. Now, I told you I blog about the gig economy, the convenience economy, the changing of our economy, how people approach facts and information. That could be a good one. Online harassment, the fate of online trust in the next decade. And we often talk about that because when we first came on to social media, Facebook was one of the first social media platforms that kind of required us to come from behind a username or a persona and give our actual factual data. I don't know about you, but I literally had to prove to Facebook that I was a human and give my name and address and so forth in order, or else I could not use Facebook. One, because I had my blog name in my name field, and they will shut you down and say, well, if you want to come back, you got to send us an ID with that information on it and so forth. And I ended up having to go by my name and then create a business page and so forth. But before Facebook did that, people used to be, before everybody got online and social media, people were concerned about their privacy. Well, from one of these reports a couple of years ago, we found out that people are really no longer concerned about their privacy and will give you all of their information based on the type of deal that they perceive that they are receiving. So that's why you see people offering up all of this stuff. If you give us your phone number, you give us, let us send you some alerts and some notifications and so forth. And what happens is, because social media has become such a utility, we need social media just like we need our lights and our water and gas and and all those kind of things. We're at a point now we literally cannot live without social media. One, because it has become a very viable place of where we get our information, where we get our news. Television is over here, it's on right here behind me. But it was on, my generation was probably the last generation to really turn it on every day and to sit in front of it. My millennial kids, they don't even have televisions in their room. They barely turn it on. I like, come watch a show with me. You know, they only will watch it if they can watch every episode at one time. You know, and so forth. So our generation was pretty much the last ones. And I'm 5.0. I'll put it that way. I stole that from somebody. I saw her put it online. I was like, I like that. That's so much better than saying 50. I'm 5.0. So, online harassment is on there. The Internet of Things, connectivity binge. What are the implications? And we can go back, and that was in June. So the last publication on that was in September. Again, we're looking, it's all blogging. We're looking for something to blog about. Tech adoption climbs among older adults. The future of free speech, trolls, anonymity, fake news. That came March. That came out in March. And the good thing about this, I mean, I could pick from any of this and kind of talk about it because news recycles. And so the future of free speech, I mean, that is a report that came out in March. But when we talk about the hashtag kneeling Sunday, where all the sports figures in the NFL decided to kneel or join the protest, it's a matter of free speech. And they got trolled for it. And we just talked about the fact that Facebook made us give up a lot of our information in order to use Facebook. So we lost our anonymity. And of course, with our president, president was ushered in amidst fake news. So let's go into that one. Maybe there's something in that we can pull out and blog about today. Many experts fear uncivil and manipulative behavior on the internet will persist and may get worse. Well, we already know it's going to get worse because we know about the experiment that happened some years ago in early 2K called We Live in Public, which was the Josh Harris experiment. So we already know where we're going. This will lead to a splintering of social media into AI patrolled and regulated safe spaces. Well, we know that because Mark Zuckerberg talked about getting everybody to join a Facebook group, going into the safe space where this artificial intelligence is going to protect you, separated from free for all zones. Some worry this will hurt the open exchange of ideas and compromise privacy. We just literally talked about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this one as well, and this might be our blog post of the day. And again, it came out in March, but what we would do with it is we would go down here, look at what the data sets are. Here's some highlights. Respect to internet pundit, U.S. Senate hard-earned testimony. Let's see if they have any graphs in here. It's something that we could really put out and look at. It's really a lot of verbiage. Unfortunately, I see the prevalence of trolling as an expression of a broader societal trend across many developed nations toward belligerent factionalism in public. I mean, our president, what does he do? He trolls us every day. He trolls everybody. I think this is going to be a good one. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to share this one. And we will come back. Let's see how we're going to put it out there. We're going to fish it. We're going to put this out there. I'm saying we already know this to be a thing. Just catching up on topics. Saw this, which reminded me. A big post. Now battling. I put theirs and I'm adding to it. I'm saying just catching up on some topics to blog about and saw this on Pure Research, tagging them. We'll research a bit post Kneeling Sunday. Hashtag Kneeling Sunday is what I'm calling the Sunday that all the athletes decided to kneel per a la Kaepernick, as NFL athletes now battling trolls for their freedom, for expressing their freedom of speech. And then I'm gonna say, take a look, browse it, buzz it, or bash it. Oh, you know what? I want to put one thing that I am known for is I'm gonna say let's browse it and let's have a great debate. And then I'm gonna put my hashtag DryerBuzz, and then we'll put DryerBuzz.com. But my lead in to a lot of my topics when I'm starting debates and so forth is buzz it or bash it, because I'm DryerBuzz and I'm asking buzz it or bash it. So we're gonna say buzz it or bash it on this one. And then that will give me an opportunity to come back. Buzz it or bash it kind of alerts them that, hey, here's a great debate Yolanda want us to have. And they know that once we have that debate, we're going to also archive it at DryerBuzz. So we're going to put that on there. So there we go. It's all blogging. Now, what I want to do, let's do this on the blog. Let me show you how we take that even further. So we know this just ended up on Facebook. So I need a blog post for today, and I think we're going to make our deadline. So all I have to do is, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take what I just said there. I'm going to open this up. Taking what I just said there, because you have your social media audience, but then you have your blog audience and so forth. So I'm going to now go over and put this on my blog, which means it's going to go out via email to my email list. So we're going to add a new post on that. And very simply what I said there, I'm going to just say it here. And what was the buzz it or bash it? I'm going to start with that. And I like the way they title Future Free Speech. Why does free speech lead to troll? Let's see. I think there we go. We're going to just say free speech or no. Free speech. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to title it. I'm going to do that. Free speech and trolls. Free speech and trolls. And I can say Pew. Buzz it or bash it, free speech and trolls. And I'm just going to say follow the buzz. I don't think I need to. Free speech and trolls. I like the fake news part in there. I'm trying to, and it always says, it's a good blog if you kind of get stuck a little bit on the headline. If you think around and play around with the headline a little bit. And I love for my headlines to really let people know we're about to talk about. I'm not trying to get any kind of like clickbait, because that can work against you on your blog. Free speech and trolls, what? Many experts fear uncivil and manipulative behavior on the internet will persist and make it worse. This will lead to splintering of social media and AI patrol regulated groups. I'm wondering if we already know this to be a thing, but Pew Research. So the above statement on a recent report, not recent because it was March, in a report on Pew Research Center. And then I'm going to actually change out this. I don't want them to go to the Facebook. I want them to go to the actual report. So we're going to change out the link on that uh, to, to the actual report. We'll research a bit following the fallout from kneeling Sunday as NFL athletes uh, in battle. I'm just going to say now, and I'm making this. What I'm doing on my blog is, while it was present tense on Facebook, I'm making it a little bit in case it's history. What happened the Sunday the athletes knelt down and owners, that became history. So I'm archiving this not just for today, but for future. Okay. Let's see. We'll research a bit following the fallout from kneeling Sunday as NFL athletes battle trolls from expressing their freedom of speech. Athletes and owners. I want to say and owners. Owners. And I want to say no more. And anonymity. I want to talk about the protest thing. So I'm going to borrow this. No more anonymity. No more anonymity. No more anonymity. Charles. Charles must come out of the shadows, but and what does it say? Just loss of anonymity, change manipulation. Those loss. Loss of anonymity, change manipulation, or make it worse. Lessen manipulation. Lessen manipulation, or make it worse. Make it worse. Browse and let's have a break. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I want to I'm going to embed the conversation. I'm going to embed, because I know most of the conversation is going to happen over here in the comments. So I'm going to embed the post. And then I need to figure out what's going to be my image. I like this, but I saw did I see an arrow there? Seems like I saw a couple of choices there. What is that? I'm basically looking for this picture. I just Just had it. There it is. All righty. And free speech and trolls. All right, so we have that. And we actually have a blog post. We have a blog post. And basically all we did was um, create a post. Let me see right here. Um, all right, let's see. Now we know. And this is going to go in that category of just news clippings because it follows along with what we were talking about, the gig economy and so forth. And just it's so funny. This is what I love about Pew Research is that we were talking about privacy and the changing of things. And here we are. And I guess I can also say bullying. I'm adding tags, bullying. I did AI, anonymity, DryerBuzz, free speech, internet, privacy, safe spaces, social media, trolls, bullying. Now that I said bullying, I might as well put NFL, Trump, athletes, football, Kaepernick, kneeling, national anthem. It's all blogging. All right. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and update that. Okay. So we have our post, and what do I normally do after that is basically what we have is we have a topic for a great debate. So now I'm going to share this topic out, and I'm going to go on those different platforms, and we're going to then have some discussion, free speech and trolls. But I'm worried. I'm wondering about this topic because I almost want to say something in it to go back to the NFL. So I almost want to ask a question like, is it free speech if and I got to figure out how to. I'm going to put this out there right now and see what the nibble is on because free speech and trolls, um, free speech, social media and trolls. How about that? Free speech, social media and trolls. That's what was missing. Something was missing. Free speech and trolls. Free speech, social media and trolls. Because I wanna tie it to the football, but then I don't. I want it to be out there, but then as I go and share it and use it on different platforms where I'm having a discussion. So what I'm going to do is I have this out there. Now what I'm going to do is as I would decide, there we go. Okay, cool. As I decide to use this as a follow up, I'm gonna then go and when I go to do my podcast, it'll be the page that I reference. Hey, you guys go over and read this post and then read this article here. And I'm wondering if they have something else I can kind of embed in there. Let's see. Shareable quotes. Okay, this is what I'm looking for right here. While I made that a quote, I want to get something else. Wow. If you have a young child, she can be expected to talk rather than type on machines for the rest of her life. What is this? Cyber attacks. Doxing and trolling will continue while social platform security experts enthusiasm. Mm. By 2026, social media and other forms of discourse will include all kinds of actors who had no voice in the past. By 2026, I mean, that's a now. And I'm looking for a quote that kind of speaks to what we experience. Oh, free speech will remain possible, although AI filter will make a major dent on how views are expressed, and hate speech will be blocked. Let's see what the share looks like. Oh, there's an embed. They got embeds, y'all. So that makes better. That makes a better blog, right? So let's see if we can find one more. That was pretty cool. Here's one that says, I'm very concerned about the future of free speech given current trends. The demands for governments and companies to censor and monitor internet users are coming from increasingly diverse set of actors. Well, they keep using the word actors with very legitimate concerns about safety and security. As we connect our identity more to what we say, there will be more accountability. We just said that, right? So let me see if they have. I'm going to grab that one. Wait, I lost it. I like that one. Because that's basically what we were talking about. Having to identify yourself. As a troll, having to identify yourself uh, is what we were talking about there. All right. And then I'm going to go back because I'm using people. I saw a couple others. Um, if you have a young child, she can be expected to talk to rather than type on machines for the rest of her life. Social media, I need this one because I said something about social media. Social media's affordances, including increased visibility and persistence of content, amplify the volume of negative commentary. As more people get internet access, and especially smartphones, which allow people to connect 24/7, there will be increased opportunities for bad behavior. I think that's what we need right there. That brings home the point. Uh, I like this. I'm looking for one with a brown person, but my problem is it's not on topic. It's talking about using technology. This one. So I think we have it. Let's update and see what we look like here. And then we need to go have some lunch. I need to get this juicing done. See my mustache, my juice mustache. It's so good. Oh, cool. So here's what we ended up with. This is our blog post. We have our headline. You know what? I might want to use one of these as the headline. So we have our quotes, and then we have our embed, which is where I think a lot of my topic is going to come from. My comments are going to come from. But I'm wondering, I almost want to see what that looks like if I use one of those. Let's see what the permission is if I use that one. I really like that statement. I really like this one. want to compare using this to this up here. Yeah, I'll keep that. I'll keep that one. I like this. So now that I've embedded all these different elements, I'm wondering if my verbiage is strong enough, if I need to add some more. And I think I need to I'm talking here and here, so I may need to make this a quote as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down. And I think I'm going to lead in with a little bit of Kaepernick. Let me see what happens if I go back over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this in as a quote. And then we already know this to be a thing. Following the NFL, following there we go. Following politics. After politics to go to gridiron. Okay. Protest. I'm saying after politics took over the gridiron and football became the field of protest. Field of protest. For the protest, we wonder. We looked around the web. We looked to see. And I'm sorry, I've turned my back on you guys. I'm thinking I need some verbiage on this. After politics took over the gridiron and football became the field of protest, we needed to clarify. We needed to clarify. We needed to check the yardage. We need to check the yardage. We need to check the yardage, gain or loss. Gain or loss. And I'm using what said we needed to check the yardage gained or lost on the impact of social media, on the impact social media has on free speech in the face of trolls. Trolls. We already know this to be a thing. Where do we get this from? Internet trends. I'm going to say, after checking internet and tech. Research. We already know this to be a thing. Just catching up on some topics to blog by the South. So we're going to take that out. We're going to make this, go ahead and make this post. Saw the above statement in a report on Pew Research Center, where research bit following the fallout from Neil and Sonny and athletes and owners battle trolls for expressing their freedom of speech. No more trolls must come out of the shadows. But does loss of anonymity lessen manipulation or make it worse? Make it worse. Many protesters, known and unknown, now face. retaliation from friends. Let's read it. Athletes. Fans. How do we know? Okay, okay. Sounds of the times of free speech. Oh, we just gonna do that. That'll work. Free speech on social media. Free speech, social media trolls. So I'm ending it, sign of the times of free speech, social media, and trolls. I'm ending it with the call to action question, using the same topic that I call the article. So there we have it. We have a blog post. So what I did, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up a little bit over an hour watching this, getting the blog post done. I talked a little bit about the history of DryerBuzz, who I was and what I do. And then I went through Pew Research just to kind of find out if there were recent reports that would kind of speak to what's going on today. I then took some of those data sets and facts and quotes, put that into a blog post. And I shared it on social media to see if it would get a nibble. But as we began to discuss it, you and I, it seemed like it was like, wait a minute, here's a report that came out and I love the fact that the report came out in March of this year, talking about this, the future of free speech, trolls, anonymity, and fake news. And I've been called to do radio interviews quite frequently lately about what we call brand backlash. With the number of protests that are going on, people are thinking that they're just going out and being able to go to a protest. They come back on their social media. People are identifying them because they saw them in a particular picture. They recognize them. They're going and they're talking about to their employers. People are thinking that they can go on social media and say all of this kind of stuff, thinking they're saying it amongst their friends. And they're like, wait a minute, you have a job. You can't work for that company and feel like this and so forth. So there's been a lot of retaliation. But at the same time, there's been a lot of bullying. There's been a lot of manipulation. For one, I work overnights. A lot of times I'm up late. And I started listening to sports so that I could get away from politics. And now, all of this politics sports has become political. And right before the kneeling Sunday happened, one of the shows I like to listen to overnight decided to discuss how they felt about people kneeling on the national anthem. And I'm like, well, can't listen to that show anymore because that's a bias. Either we're going to have free speech or we're not, and it's like, why is it that people feel like if they say this, it means this? But no, I'm talking about this. Why do I have to mention that I'm only talking about this? I don't mean that. We have to now give so many disclaimers. And I hate having to give a disclaimer. And I certainly hate having to apologize. And I don't like side effects. Those are three things I try not to have within my day. I try not to have to deal with any of those three things. So we went out on the particular tabs that I go and get information and facts, right? And I love that I saw a report on here. What were we at? On media or social trends? There was another report on here. Let's see. We saw it. I know we saw it. It wasn't on social trends. Uh, it was talking about how people absorb the facts and the information. And I was like, whoa, maybe it was on this one, internet. So, and like I said, what I love about Pew Research, like look at this one, about 6 in 10 young adults in the U.S. primarily use online streaming to watch TV. Younger men play video games, but so do a diverse group of older Americans. Smartphones help blacks, Hispanics bridge some, but not all digital gaps in whites. Now, we can definitely blog about that one because for the past 30 years, I've been trying to close the digital gap. So I'm definitely gonna. That's gonna be my second blog post. I'm not gonna keep you guys to watch me on this one, but I just want to let you guys know and go live at DryerBuzz.com. Again, if you're seeing this video anywhere around the web, somebody shared it. Maybe you mentioned you wanted to learn how to blog, and they say, "Well, here, watch Yolanda. She's a blogger in Atlanta. She's been doing it for 16 years, and I also do a meetup." Learn to blog, and I'm in a reboot phase and trying to figure out how to reboot all these things that I do. But now that I see this, and this one came out August 31st, 2017, I really want to go delve into this one. I'm not going to keep you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Again, DryerBuzz.com. If you see this video anywhere, if you want to catch any other videos that we do, please make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you tell a friend. Tell a friend and definitely catch us. It's all blogging. And all I need you to do is just start at DryerBuzz.com. And so there's our article. There's one. And I just saw another one that I can't wait to go dive into. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks again for watching DryerBuzz.com.